having traffic jams is actually amazing. Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Second City, and we finally have our first expansion pack for the game, which is incredible. So I've got bridges and ports installed. I've troubleshooted some mods, got everything working and fixed. You'll notice we're having just a number of issues through the city. Ignore the death wave. That happens all the time. We have a lot of not enough customers. There seems to be a rebalance. I haven't read through all the patch notes yet. I need to do that. But there's definitely a rebalance where we don't have as much demand for offices because of vacancy. And we're having a ton of traffic issues. Now, I will say the traffic issues, I've had this game running for about 2 hours now. I've just been messing around here and there, making small tweaks. Most of it's resolving I will say, first of all of the basketball courts, every single one of these has broken. They all have to be removed. You can't use Move It to do it. It does not seem to make a difference. So we've had a number of issues with traffic. Really, I've just been tweaking it as I go. So like if you remember, this used to have 2 roundabouts right here. I've reworked that exit, moved it over here, made some changes. Now it looks like overkill, but to kind of help some of that traffic get moving, I've just been making changes throughout. There are areas like this where I added in a small roundabout that seemed to fix it for now, but I think there are other improvements we can make. I've noticed I have a lot of exits that share one intersection, so you can get on and off the highway from one point. That seems to be where most of my challenges are. So I think what we'll do is, as we get a little bit further and keep working on the city, we may start to change things up where the entrance for I-43 West, instead of you coming over here and then getting on Aspen and scooting on up and having to cross over lanes of highways, or lanes of traffic, I think we might move it to like this crosswind street. We send the entrance off of this road and loop it underneath and on. Like those kind of changes I'll make as I keep going. In between parts, while I was waiting for the new pack to come out and then patches to come out for all the mods, I just was messing around and working on some parts of Old City here. So you'll notice we've now got some of these buildings along this road here. These are like the townhomes for the Netherlands pack. I added some additional ones over this way as well, thinking they're looking out into the ocean, and some just general commercial buildings over here just to fill out a little bit more of this new area. And then the big thing you'll notice, which I'm sure you can see, I worked on this park. I think it looks really nice. I added in some lighting, so even at nighttime, although we don't really play at night, you get a really nice view of this park, and it just feels like a good way to fill in this area without making it overly dense. Now, because we're having so many issues with a need for high density, what I would like to think about is maybe placing in some high density buildings over this direction. Okay, so with this new park edition, I did just fill in 2 of these blocks here to help a little bit with the demand. We are having some issues with not enough workers, so hopefully that adds a little bit of extra support there to get some more workers here. We have dropped pretty significantly. Let's get the actual view here. When I loaded this game up, we had around 76,000 people. We have dropped from about almost 176 down now to 170, and we're still dropping residents. So I don't know exactly how to solve that yet. The other issue I'm noticing is we've got a lot of offices that apparently are unoccupied buildings, which is also reducing the local demand. You can see the black buildings. These black buildings are offices that don't have any businesses in them. There's really just a few there in Center City. There's also a few over here. And what we could do for these guys is, instead of leaving them as offices, let's switch this out into some type of business. We'll do low density. And I think let's do some of these new waterfront ones. I know they're not on the waterfront, but I would like to see kind of what options we get with those types of buildings. So we'll see what that looks like. But just trying to do a little whack-a-mole as we make some adjustments to address the new patch and the changes there. Let's just jump into figuring out how to make this ferry line, because that's really what I want to focus on today. And that might even help with some of our traffic problems by getting people off the road. So we don't have to do any additional unlocks because it's already under our water section, which we've already unlocked. And we need to put a ferry depot. Ferry depots cost $150,000, $21,000 a month upkeep with 20 vehicles. Fuels, maintains, and stores ferries. Each vehicle stops at the depot at certain intervals to stay in running order. It can be upgraded with an extra haul. So all around, it's a big building, but it's not terribly big. And we are going to begin to, I think, redevelop Keats Industrial Port using all the new port assets. But for now, I'm wondering if what we do is we kind of remove these two fake piers and we build that building along this area. So let's go ahead. If I just removed all of these roads, I actually didn't even check. Is there any buses here? No. There's no buses. Great. Let's go and just remove all of these. I love that they're going to keep trying to build. They shouldn't because I'm going to need them to get out of here. Let's go ahead and do a straight road on the ground. But we're going to go from here straight over to here. And if I anarchy it in, it should work just fine. Then what we can do is we can begin to fix this land a little bit. Let's get rid of all the zoning in this section. We don't need it. And then we're going to adjust these roads so that they are working the way we want. So let's remove the key here, here, and here. Let's then also add the key to this road. If I just delete this and I instead actually build the key road itself. Oh my God, we've got even more leisure paths. Do we just have more general paths? Oh my word, pedestrian bridges. So we've got a few options. Let's see. Narrow key with pedestrian path, concrete block pattern. Oh, like very narrow. This is just a wide key with pedestrian path. Okay, so these are both pedestrian path keys. Then we have a wide key with pedestrian path, shallow ribbed, narrow key, deep rib. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Okay, here's roads. Here we go. All right, this guy here has the shallow rib. So if I were just to place it for now, just so we can get a look, see what she looks like. Okay, and then we have two-way road, and this is with deep rib. Oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. All right, and then these get larger. We don't want any of that. Let's do one with the deep rib because I think that looks kind of nice. Oh yeah, that's a great key wall. Hold on. Can I, jumping all around, can I upgrade this with without causing too much problem? In water. That's not actually an issue because it's not in the water. Great. So now I've got this new plot of land to work with, which I'm excited about. Let's see how this works. It has to go, I guess it can't be. It needs to be against a road, but on land. Oh, okay, hold on. Then actually remove that road. Sorry to all the cars that just disappeared there. If I were actually just to move this interior road forward a bit, 90-90, right? And then we were to try to place this here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at that building. I've not looked at any buildings yet. This is all brand new. So excited. Okay, what is this building? An extra hall, an extended storage that can house more ferries. And that just tacks right on. Okay, so we need to have some waterway connections. I guess let's figure out, now that we've built that, what have we unlocked here? We have a ferry stop shoreline. A ferry stop featuring a small gate and a pier requires shoreline placement. Just go over here to like an area we've not developed so I don't mess anything up. Okay. This guy is just a tiny little ferry stop. We've got some seats with some information boards. That's awesome. Then there's also a ferry stop key featuring a small gate and a pier. It requires key placement. Okay, so this would go right along a key. Let's just come over here and see. Can I snap to roads? Oh, wow. It kind of functions like an exterior bus lane. Okay, that's fantastic. And then a ferry terminal. A terminal for ferries allows passengers allows passengers ferry boarding and disembarking. The terminal is completed with a ferry terminal pier, allowing ferries to dock at the terminal. It can also be upgraded with a bus terminal. I don't know if I understand what that means. They can dock here. Let me just place it. You park here. It's a building. Is this like a pathway that I can build off of? It looks like I'm supposed to be able to take this pier and do something with it, but I don't know if I can. Okay. Get rid of this. That looks like it's for like a much denser area. So let's figure out where we want these ferry stops to be. This is the depot. So we need an initial stop. I think having a stop here in Old City would be really valuable. And I think we do one of these ferry stop keys, because we could do this like maybe right across from the park. It'll get some more use in the park. I don't want to have to use Anarchy to do this though. So maybe we place one here, knowing that we're going to eventually have to fill out this area. And we could place another one maybe over here along King Street. Oh yeah, also, that reminds me, I fixed the ferry line, or the tram line. So we had this tram line that came down this road, ignore that traffic, came down this road, and holy a lot of people waiting. It came down this road and then it kind of dead-ended. And I asked you guys, like, how do I get that over here? Do I worry about it, or do we just leave it alone? Pretty much overwhelmingly, you all said we needed to move that ferry or that tram into Old City. That would just make sense. So what I ended up doing was deleting the buildings along this section of Garland Street, and I sent the ferry underground. It now travels underneath of this highway and comes back out over here. Then it moves along the center road here. I don't know what the name of this street is, Bayberry Street. And it comes along Bayberry Street and moves all the way along here, with the stops being on either side. And it moves all the way over to here and comes around Bayberry Pier, which I just decorated a little bit with a small fountain and a statue. I am noticing that there are just a ton of people. We've got a lot of trams. 300 passengers are waiting there, but these trams can only hold 200 people. What if we just, for now, up that to 15 trams? Every one of these stops is mad busy. Interesting. We're going to have to keep an eye on that, because that I think is going to become a big issue. All right, so say we have our ferry stops here and here to service Old City. You can get off here. Right here's a tram stop, so you just walk across one intersection. Or you can come down this road, and now you're in like a little shopping district, because this is a pedestrian street now. Okay, like that. I like that. Then I'd want that ferry to be able to move up this direction and make some meaningful connections along here. Now, there's no real river access from the roads here. There is an opportunity for river access right here. Let's move this surface out of the way just for a second. Just like so. And let's place this ferry stop right here. We'll bring that road down, Evergreen Street. And then Evergreen Street connects you over into this area. What type of public transit is here, if any? Not really any, but if we also add a pathway, we have one here. If we send that path over this direction, there are a number of bus stops right here. We've got Ortega Cypress and Blackwood Cypress. So we have 2 buses that use this area. Wow. I will say, although having traffic is never a good thing, in City Skylines you try to reduce the traffic and it causes problems when you have it. Having played so many hours, I think I'm almost over 400 hours in this game, and feeling like the roads are always so empty, having traffic jams is actually amazing, and I'm kind of why I'm not solving them. I hate all the icons, but like zooming into a road and being like, oh my God, there's so many, so many freaking cars. I love it. I love it. All right. So if we have this guy here, it would then want to come up this direction. And we could think about We could think about connecting right off to the side of this guy. Now, this is a little high. I don't actually know if this will work. And we very well will have to anarchy this. No pedestrian access, no water. I think it's no water because it's so high. This definitely needs some kind of ferry, though. But how do we do that? We'll come back. We'll come back. If we were to come up this direction, we could also think about doing a ferry up here. We don't need it yet, but eventually Brightwater is going to have a lot more development. You're saying what? No vehicles. You have no vehicles on Maple Avenue Tram. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. So many problems all at once. Let's go over here to our tram depot. There's one here. We've already added the garage extension. We're going to need another tram depot. We're going to do that. We got to remember to come back to that. We have one ferry stop here. I don't know how we do it along Hillside Street, so let's just avoid it for the moment. Can I even connect to these? I can. All right, let's place one here, although I don't think it's going to get a lot of use. We did see stars over here in Creighton, which is a good sign. And then if we turn around this way, we could have a number of ferries along this road. So what if we had a ferry right here, right underneath of this road here, or this bridge, which name I can't remember, Woodview Bridge. Then we could send another ferry maybe over this direction. Where can we do it where it doesn't have any issues? There's a school right there. We'd really have to do it like right here if we didn't want issues, which I think I'm okay with that. Actually, I'd rather put it... No, put it right here in the middle. There's a bunch of businesses along this road, still a ton of residents there. This is all low density in Point Breeze, but we come over to here, and this is very much a high density area. So if we had one right here, it could begin to service Amberwood. And then we could send another one around and maybe just have one along this road, close to this winding road here, Briar Rose. If we place this here, then we've got another ferry right there, and we're going to have a lot of movement in this water. I love what I'm seeing for those guys. I do need to figure out how we get one over here. How do we do that? Because really we have a tunnel. And then after the tunnel, this starts shooting straight up. And it might be very challenging to add in an additional road. But if we were to take a road... Okay, this is considered ground level. If I were to take a road and just build it like this, like right in the water, right? Like, what if I did that? Actually, a wide key with pedestrian path. I can't even seem to, like, if I turn anarchy off, can this connect into this in that way? No, this is the Avenue Road. It's just a pedestrian road. The pedestrian street. That's what this is. If I were to bring this on a curve, I could even maybe turn anarchy off for a second. No, doesn't work without anarchy. We're gonna live with it. That's fine. If I brought this out and turned it this direction, and let's actually do a complex curve, because what's going to happen with the complex curve is I can just at least extend my constant slope a little bit. But say we brought this out to here. What does that look like? It's a little big, which is my one problem. It just feels a little large. If I were to send this path right here, and then we tried to connect it to this road above. If I go from here to here, and I turn off anarchy, can I just, without anarchy on, can I even connect to this and like bring it down? You can. Okay. So knowing it is possible, and that for some reason deleting this also messes up Hillside, we're just going to get rid of that entirely. Let's turn anarchy back on. And let's bring this down to the water level. Maybe we do like 17, right? And then we send this out straight. It doesn't need to have any grade change right here. Although I can't change anything because it's in the water. All right, we're learning as we go. Now, I don't even know if I can put a ferry stop on this. I can. So we can have a ferry stop right here. And people could then connect up into there, into this area. Now, that's adding a second light. It's adding way too much stuff. Get rid of this light and get rid of this crosswalk. They can use that crosswalk. Let's just see if this is even functional. Now, the next challenge we're going to have is we have to connect all these ferries together. It's ferry line tool. Nope. We need narrow boatway. So let's start with this guy. Can this go underneath this road? It can. Which means if I turn all this off except for snap to existing, and I'm going to use continuous curve for this because I just feel like this is one of those things where like you would have continuous curve. This ferry could come straight up this way. There we go. So there's no error there. It's easily working its way through here. We need a bridge that's tall enough to allow this. Clearance too low. Do I just need to raise this bridge? Like, if I were to do it with move it, would that work? Like, could I just go like that? I mean, it looks terrible, but if I move it that way, does that allow me to bridge underneath? It does. That's not too bad. But now I've got to get this reconnected. I used this guy. Yep. And we're bringing this up to connect it into here. I don't love that I'm using Anarchy to connect this first piece, but I guess this entire section here was an Anarchy build. So in some way, it does make sense that this would be how this is working. What if I were to come from here over to here and just connect it up and in like that? That's just terrible. That's terrible. Get rid of this. Get rid of this building. Get rid of this building. I've really messed this up by moving it around the way I did. I need to move away from this. Let's move away from that. We're going to come back to that section. We will figure that out later. Not right now. All right, let's turn Anarchy back off because I do want to build this without Anarchy's help. At least for this section. Now, I don't know if this is going to work this way, but we're going to find out. This will then ideally split back into two, but maybe we don't need to do that just yet. Maybe we come along this direction and rotate around into here. Can we make this work? Not at the present moment, but if we were to just shimmy this over a little bit, not actually make any major changes there, we're scooting that over. This could come down and around this way and around this way. Now this is where we've got a pedestrian highway that we have to be mindful of. This other bridge is working just fine. So many people on the pedestrian highway, which we like to see. But I think what we're going to need to do, as you can see, this goes downhill. So let's do this. Let's grab this height and set it to this height. Okay? Then what we can do is we can hit pause and we can delete these sections of path. Grab the regular pedestrian path, connect it from there to here. Anarchy is not even on, but we're fine. All those people will just rise through the pavement back onto the path. Great. Now we need to get this guy over to there. It's going to cause us to have to do a number of changes. I don't actually think we need anything crazy to make this work. I think what we could probably do... Slope too steep. Oh, don't worry. We're not going that low, guys. We're not going that low. Is just bring it over like this. They'll all rise to the occasion. Like this dog that's rising to... All the dogs are rising to the main road. Oh, nope. They're turning around. They're all going to the main road. Are you going to turn around? No? Okay, there you go. All right, let's see. This should fit. I think it will. If we come here... We can go to here, but now actually, no, the problem we have... Clearance too low and overlapping object. But even if I were to try to get this to work, it's still going to be the wrong clearance. Okay, we have to decommission this road. Sorry, guys. We are decommissioning the pedestrian highway while we build out a ferry network. I'm sure you'll forgive us in the future. This will connect into here. Bam. And then we got to send this guy further down. Hold on. Let's do this. Oh, well, this road here is absolutely too small, too shallow. Maybe we can use a train bridge. Hold on. Train. A double train track truss arch bridge. That's not new. That's the standard truss bridge we've had. Two-way train track lift bridge or a double train track lift bridge. Can I just upgrade this with a two-lane train? Distance too short. If I were to go like, let's see, pause, delete, delete, delete. It's not a very high bridge, but if I go from here to here, oh, that's not what I want. We want this one. But like, there's no way that works. There's no way I've done that correctly. Delete this, and delete this. If we were to grab this connecting node here and just brought it straight across, I'm confused. Oh. Okay, hold on. But then if we place this in between, it does in fact raise. Okay, hold on. If this is in the way, we can move the road. Oh, that's how that works. I think this can all stay a single lane for at least that section. It might be able to be a single lane the whole way. Let's be real. If this was to go like this, it's not actually connecting to anything on that side anyway. Since there's no development here, and I don't think there ever will be, we'll just connect into this. I assume this works in this way. Eventually, we would have more, hopefully, connections along this side. But for now, I can just do this little loop. The last stop we have is here. So I do think it would be valuable to just connect these two like this. So they can just turn around. I don't even think we need... Oh, no, we have this one stop here. Okay, we do need that. So they're moving through this section. We have disconnected this road, which makes me wonder if we're even able to reconnect this. Hold on. I saw a piece. Yeah, right there. Let's go back to keys, because this is that special key road. Right there works just fine. But right there does not work just fine. Okay, hold on. Delete that little section. We can figure this out. If I just connect to this, but then I turn everything off, and we begin to go forward, and we turn, and then we turn this way, this road is essentially in the same spot, just slightly pushed back. Hey. It's pretty cool. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. So then, this guy needs to be able to wrap around the coastline and connect into its partner, which I think we can probably just leave like a dead end, which then makes me think we don't even need to do this like this. Get rid of all of this. And let's do it this way. This is the actual ferry stop. We'll just do a continuous curve. We'll go like this. And we'll connect into this stop here. And then we'll connect this guy straight up and in. Or maybe give it a slight turn on its way back. Okay, that seems to be working. We still have to reconnect the passenger line. Let's just see, before we do anything else, if this actually works. Like, if I was to say, you're going to start right here, and you're going to come up this direction. We'll pass by that for the moment, just for a second. Because we'll end over that way. You come up here. You then continue up this road, and you come up this way. Then you come up this way. So we really don't need two separate lanes here at all. Now that we're doing this, I guess this comes all the way back down this direction. But then this begs the question, is this actually even useful? Because I'm treating this like I would like a subway line or something, right? But like if you get on the the ferry here, your first stop is all the way up here. Not a bad thing. But then you do pass like right by this stop, which may be worthwhile to connect into both directions. And like this guy, you're passing by both. Like what if we just connect it both ways so that you're always able, regardless of direction, to go to every stop. And like this one's probably less necessary because the stop is right here. You can practically walk that. So I don't know if I need you to also stop here to then keep going. But the rest of them, maybe except for these two, which are really close. Like if you get on here, you come down here. Let's just clear both. You come down here, and you don't actually need to stop there. Well, no, you would want to stop there because you want to be able to pick people up on the way out. But when this comes back down, it does need to stop there. That actually, both of those should stay. Both of those should stay. I also think we're going to want to have another connection maybe over here once we begin to build this area out. It does beg the question, if we can easily get a ferry through all this, which I do not know if that's at all possible, if there'd be a ferry stop all the way up here. I don't know if there would be. It's so undeveloped up there that I think that might be a little crazy. One thing we don't have is a ferry stop over here, which could be super valuable. Oh, then this could be even more valuable by stopping here. It does mean if you're coming down this way and you want to get to here, that's easy. You can come down this ferry line, you stop here, you scoot back over, you stop here, and you head back up. But if you get on this ferry stop, you do not get to go over here to Old City at all. So I wonder if in addition to having that main route, I wonder if we have a second route that just goes like this. And we can even add in some additional connections here to make it a little bit smoother all around. But that way you've got a second route that's just kind of looping these areas together, which this will then continue to expand as we go this way. And maybe then it becomes a separate line. I don't know. We do need to connect this guy up, which this should be pretty simple, he says. Slope too steep. Already running into a challenge. If I were to delete this just for a second. Okay, hold on. Delete, delete, yes, delete. And I were to use a key wall. We'll use a fancy one. Right along here. Would I be able to get a little curve here and connect up and in? Not there, but hold on. Hold on. Key wall here. Just like that. Then regular road curve up and in. Like that. Doesn't impact anything there. We then just move the ferry stop over to here. We then connect the lanes back up, which means we don't really even need this, but it'll look nice because then the trams will get to go both directions. Do we skip that on the way up, or do we also make it stop here? Because if we make it stop here, then we don't see them go both ways. You know what? I think it does stop here, and I think you get rid of this. I'm now realizing, back all this up. All I need is one route. This now feels like way over-engineered, but we're going to leave it. We're not going to sweat it. That's all connected. That's connected. That's connected. This is connected. This is connected. And this is connected. Okay. Let's unpause real quick. We've got to see the inaugural ferry. 20 vehicles available. We currently have one en route. Oh my God. She is green though. Hold on. It needs to be much more muted than that. Much more pleasant to look at. And I think the same is going to be true here, but this one should be blue. I don't hate it. It does still feel a little bit too saturated though, so let's further desaturate that color and further desaturate this color. That's better. That's much better. Okay, let's follow along with this ferry because I'm very curious how this goes. Okay, sometimes the lighting I've done in certain angles does not work great. I'm still figuring it out. We'll get there, but it's just taking some time. All right, our first stop is over here. It's really high. Kind of sucks we're still having that problem where, like, the people have to float into the ferry. You think by now we would have figured that out. We couldn't have, like, built in, I don't know, stairs or something, and that came out like a little... That was going to be... You know what? That's what they should have done. This ferry stop on the quay should have attached to the quay but at water level, and then they would have procedurally put in stairs. Why am I complaining? Let's see. Can we go on 3 times speed? If I just focus on the ferry, can we go 3 times speed? Looks like at times. There's 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Okay, we can occasionally. Now, I don't think anyone's going to be waiting here yet. No passengers waiting. There are no upgrades to any of these stops, which is totally fine. I do need to come up with a name for the river because I think this green line is going to be whatever the name of the river is. We're on our way. We do have a single passenger. Very exciting. Let's just watch this guy go to the next stop. How does it approach? It just kind of slides to the side. I can already see we have people waiting. So we're going from 1 to 12. Okay. All right, we're at 12. Now we're at 6. Pulling in onto our next stop, we currently have 6 passengers, and the updated passenger count is 23 and 4 dogs. All right, pulling into the next stop, we have 47 passengers and 10 dogs. I didn't realize we had that many. I must have clicked off before they all boarded. Already a ton of people waiting here. We're going from 47 to 58. Let's see. Oh my gosh, look at all the people waiting. This is great. Now you have to let me know in the comments if this is the right way to do this, of like sending this ferry up and down the whole length of the water, or should I do some routes that are just going from one point on one side of the river to the other point on the other side of the river. Even though I have no idea how I'm going to connect to the other side of the river yet. All right, we're at 56 with 11 dogs. Now we are connecting to the other side of the river, and I'm curious if everybody gets off. The thing about this particular stop we've got over here is there's not a lot of stuff over here. So it's probably unlikely a lot of people are going to get off. Then again, it is a really easy connection for everyone living on the, I guess, east side of the river to connect over to the industrial area on the west side of the river. And actually, with all those green lines, there's a lot of people who are about to get off here. Hold on. Pulling up. We have 56 passengers. Bam. That's exactly what it is. They wanted an easy way. See, this is what I don't love. But that's, you know what? That's classic City Skylines. You just got to let it do its thing. That's perfect. That means this is working in the way we want. I do also wonder if we need that big blue rail bridge that we built. If that's even adding anything, because this seemed to go under just fine without any need for the rail bridge. So I'm curious if that's required or not. We have 100 people in this ferry. We might not have enough ferries to do this line. I don't need to see the rest of it. That all makes sense to me. I do think this might actually be overkill. Just quickly pause this. Are you telling me that I can't just grab this line and slightly edit it to fit over top? If I were to bring this out to connect up to there, right? Let's raise this. Right there, it connects just fine. 3.6. But that's not enough for here. Okay, so then get rid of this. If I keep in line with here, it's the wrong tool entirely. Really, the problem we're having is the bridge. Because at this angle, the bridge has an extra column. If I'm at this height, the clearance is still too low. If I'm at this height, clearance is still too low. Still too low. That works. Okay. So if this works, and we were to place this here, what would I need to do to make this be at, like, you know, the 5% or so grade that we prefer? If I bring this guy down, what is our angle here? Oh, 5%. So that's happening. What's our angle here? Definitely not going to be 5. 6.6. So I think what we do is we back both of these up. We get a curve going. We go from here straight out at the 79 is fine. 4.5. That worked fine. Now, I will say, I did like having the additional key walls around this section. It just kind of finished it off and made it look nice. Maybe we just push those back to there and let that be a bridge. But like right here, this should be a key wall. We can't key wall there. But now if I come in here and just smooth out this area a bit, I think it's going to look a whole lot nicer. Yeah, there we go. That's what we want to see. Now, can I reconnect this through here without any issue? Okay. That makes more sense. The longer I looked at it, the more it did kind of look like overkill. Sewage facility overflowing. Man, we are running into some issues. Yeah, we're not processing enough sewage. Any more upgrades to this? There are a few. There are a few. If I were to remove this road and the associated buildings, could we begin to upgrade this further? This increases the processing capacity of the facility, and this increases the purification rate. But I could place almost 2. 1 is fine, though, because now it's not going to be overflowing, and it did give us just enough to kind of get us past that problem. I think where we're at here, though, this road can just be upgraded into a 2-lane, one-way road that heads right on in to here. There's no reason for you to have to come back out this way. If you want to get back on the highway, you can come over here to this exit. That way the traffic is not crossing over itself. In doing that, we have kind of messed up this area. I think we just get rid of everything that's here. You don't need it. And instead we place brand new industrial buildings here. That looks nice. How are you doing? You're the little loop here. You've got 26 passengers. There's 5 waiting there, none waiting here, 1 waiting there. So that's not nearly as busy of a line. But if I look, it only has 1 assigned vehicle. So that's totally fine. This line, 100 people, 100 people. Like, this line's getting a lot of use. That's good to see. All right, I like this better with the regular train now that I've kind of sat with it. Now we need to reconnect our pedestrian highway that we had going right here because we couldn't get it over the tram line. It's not a tram. The ferry line. Part of the problem we're going to have is that this is passageway for the ferries is so wide that the supports on the on the pedestrian path, they're too consistent, too regular. We need a better way to do this. Can this work? Okay, hold on. This can work just fine. I think we need to just kind of rework this because I kind of like the idea of this being a little bit closer to the road. So if I were to raise this up a little bit more, nothing, up, nothing, up, nothing. 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 10. Seriously, how high does this need to go? 18.75. Okay. Look at the way the water moves. If we place this here, Whitestone Bridge, then we just need to figure out how to reconnect all this. And I think we can definitely do that. I think what happens instead of this is that this is also a wide pavement path. And I think we lean into that. This is a great sized path. Oh, yeah. I like that. All right, let's do this. We're going to curve this way and get it to connect up and into this, which means that we can get rid of this little segment, which is unnecessary. But now that we have this going here, I wonder if we just fix this curve. So we can go from here, right there, go ahead and curve. Go out to here. Go ahead and curve. And then go out to here and go ahead and curve. But just get rid of this extra segment. Connect up to here. Connect over to here. Connect into here. So it's still basically the same idea. A little bit more windy, but it becomes this double path, this wide path. Look at that. I don't hate it. This is what I want to see. I want that much traffic on the bridge at all times. I don't really, but really the problem is right here, this intersection. Everybody's trying to turn to the left. Would this... I haven't even finished the pedestrian path. Would this be solved if we just gave it a turning lane, like a dedicated turning lane, and now you have 2 lanes that people can turn in? What they've done is they've somehow done some tweaking to the traffic to mean that we actually need to start using these larger roads, which is actually exciting because so much of this city is built with tiny little roads, and I never had a reason to have to like delete whole swaths of the city to upgrade. Now I think I might need to. It's already starting to move that direction. This side is kind of just facing a similar issue. I think we want to turn, but there's no real way to turn. But if I were to change both of these so that we've got multiple turn lanes on the exits of the bridge, we can fit far more people here and get them out of here faster. Again, see, look, we're all trying to get into this lane because it's the only one turning this direction. This has wide sidewalks, which means that this could be upgraded. We have to move those paths back and shimmy this building a little bit. What is this? This is South Second Firehouse. I think what we do, pause, Anarchy, delete. Go ahead and upgrade this with Anarchy on into 3-lane and 3-lane. Does that work? Yeah, I think it does. It means this house can't be here anymore, which is fine. Then we got to go back to our pedestrian paths, reconnect this one straight on out, reconnect this one essentially straight on over, turn everything off, including Anarchy, and just bring it over here. There we go. Go ahead and hit play. That can work now fine. This now just needs to be updated a bit. I think what we do is we connect into here and we rotate to this point. What does that look like? Well, hold on. Not stuck to the ground. It's a much wider path now. But it also has this covered bridge, which I think because I built without Anarchy, we lost our support. Much better. All right, so now this should mean more people are going to be using this pathway. They are. That's great. And it's larger, which I just think looks nicer. I will just quickly pause it, though, so that we can do this, I think, properly. Constant slope, but that just is a stronger curve there. And then I think an additional connection you'd want to see would be coming off of here and curving this way. Yeah, because if you come off this road, you have to come down this block and then down this block and down this block to get over here. But if we add this connection, now this makes this far more useful. And if I click on Pearl Street, you can kind of see where people are going. And I think that's just much stronger. Basically, everyone in South 2nd likes to walk over here into Amberwood and Hickory Hill, which is great. Why don't we real quickly, before we do some of the highways, I just want to look at the abandoned office buildings. We have 2 here. We have 1 here. Let's go ahead and delete those 4. And there's a few over here, which we'll come back to. Let's just stick to what we are working with here. So now we've got a few open spaces. Why don't we go ahead and do some Chinese high-density housing? Because I think those are pretty unique looking. And then maybe over here, what we could do is some northeast. We do one there and like a whole swath here. We might have completely destroyed any desire for that. But alternatively, we could just do some business. But I think that'll fill up real quick. Our skyline's changing. Buildings are no longer as valuable as they once were. We've got to switch some things up. This road here looks to be a 2-lane road with a bus stop on both sides. I think that gets upgraded to have 2 lanes. Although I like the trees here. I think we upgrade that so that it's got a little bit more connectivity. Solve that problem right away. What kind of building is this? This is a Chinese office building. Okay, so these buildings here I think are amazing, but they're all Chinese offices and we have absolutely no need for office. I did go through and delete some buildings that had 5 workers, so I was having that issue, it looks like, in some places, but for the most part, seems to have been fixed. We've got construction happening to fill in these new areas, which is great. So we'll see some changes to the skyline there soon enough. All right, let's do some just final wrap-ups here and look at some of our highways. Traffic here on the spiral, all around not too bad. This here, I don't know how to solve yet. We've got all these lanes coming into this roundabout. Then they turn. Well, right now there's an accident. So I think that's probably part of the problem. The accident is causing it so that the bus can't move. So that's actually not a problem. Over here, this road doing fine. This road still having some issues with this particular connection. A lot of that seems to be because of how many people are trying to turn. I think we forego the asymmetrical road on that side. I wonder, honestly, do we just make it a 4-lane? But that just feels terribly aggressive to have it be a 4-lane road. But already, like, look at that. That's moving so much smoother. And what if, too, you know what? Put some nice trees in the middle. Give it a roundabout. Let's see what that does. Put that key wall back. That might give us a much better flow here. Let's just see. Give it a second for people to figure out what they're doing. We've got some people trying to cross the road. Is there another level crosswalk? No, you've got to make that call either here or when you get all the way across this bridge over there. I am going to just raise this up a little bit. I wonder if this is another one of those locations where having some type of stronger pedestrian path would go a long way. Like, what if I came off of here without anarchy? Can I do that? I can. We raise this up. Looks good enough to me. So now we've got a new pedestrian connection. It's not going to stop people from taking this road, but what we can do with it is I now don't feel as bad about turning off that crosswalk or this crosswalk. You can walk around and over this way. Is that going to speed anything up here? We're going to let that play out. We'll see if that solves anything. It does already look a little bit better here. Like, we are starting to get people to move. Another car crash. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Okay. With all that in place, I also want to make one final edit to this area that I kind of had mentioned at the beginning. I don't like this roundabout moment. I don't like this connection that we've got going on. So let's change this up. What we're going to do is we're going to send this connection, I think, underneath of this road. To do that, a portion of this line does need to be elevated. That should work. That should work. If I come over here to highway, let's also slow down the game. Whew, so fast. We don't need anarchy on for this, I don't think. I should be able to bring this out. Oh, heck yeah. Turn everything off. We want it to connect before that other exit shows up. So if we just begin to raise this a little bit here. And we do that connection there. You'd upgrade this to 4 lanes. Right? Then one becomes an exit lane. That's fine. But now here's your entrance onto that highway, which means you don't need this entrance onto the highway. You just need the exit onto the highway, which means that was the last vehicle taking that exit. This can go down to 2 lanes. This can go down to 2 lanes. I do have to have anarchy on. I recognize that's not ideal. That's 3 lane. And then there's an exit lane that, yes. There we go. So there's the exit now, which means this is just an exit off the highway. Now off camera, I did go through. That is not even. I did go through and start naming our highways. So this is the I-43 east and west. I-43 cuts all the way through the city this direction. We then have the I-70 north and south, which goes right through the heart of the city and goes that direction. Then over here we have the I-270, which goes kind of around and loops over. And then this guy over here is the I-343 east. I think that might be it. Might be all of them. Yeah, this is 343 and I-70. Yep. Great. So what we got to do is we got to change these guys. So this is going out onto King Street. So this is going to be King Street exit. And this right here is a connection onto the I-43 West. So this is the I-43 West on-ramp. Now, do we have an I-43 East on-ramp anywhere, like over here? How do you get on I-43 East? You actually don't from over here. Which makes me think, there's how many cars here? 4? Get rid of this. Get rid of this. And this road doesn't go anywhere yet, so get rid of this too. This all changes. This right here becomes a 2-lane highway road. You have 1 lane that pulls out and connects like this. We then need to kind of shimmy this over a bit. So I think what we do is we get rid of both of those. I think we just rebuild this if possible. And rotate it. So now we have another entrance here to the highway. This I-43 West can come off and come onto here. Does I-43 East have any way to connect out here? Hold on, I'm realizing like we might have just completely missed a really important connection. And if we did, I'm making things harder on myself for no reason. Set that up like a 2-lane road there. We could extend the 3-lane 1 more. Connect into here. And bring it down and in. But then also bar any ridiculous turns like that. So now we've built out a whole new kind of connection here, which is actually super valuable. Okay, that looks good. We'll give that a key wall. We'll give this entrance section here. You know what? Get rid of the key wall. Give this retaining wall. just because of where we're located. The rest of that's a bridge. Or, I think it needs to be a bridge. But now we've got a way to get in here, a way to get out of here, a way to go this way. No one's taking this road yet. Oh, there we go. All right, now this is coming over here onto Crosswind Street. So this is going to be Crosswind exit. So far, I've not had as many problems with my road names. We'll see if that persists, but it's getting better. This could be improved, I think, if we just went ahead and upgraded this to have 2 lanes coming out at this point. And really exaggerate it. Let them go 2 lanes earlier than expected. This is kind of still a little bit busy, but it's a main entrance and exit. So I think with time we can solve this. We also now have a lot of people coming down this way to then come up this road and get back on to the highway. I don't think there's a solve for that at the moment. We will upgrade this to be a 2-lane road because there are 2 lanes to get onto here. And we'll see how that goes long term. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Lorelai, follow your dad out. I can't have your tippy taps. I can't edit them out.